Today is Friday, September 3rd, 2021. I'm at the 9 Mile Trailhead in Yellowstone National Park, heading out on a 7-day, 6-night backpacking trip. Tonight I'm going to spend the night at campsite, I think it's SE4. It's about 11 or 12 miles from here. So look around the trailhead. It's an old burn area. There's a deer over there. I was walking along and came across this huge meadow out here. So if I'm looking at the map right, I think that's Stevenson Island. And I think that's Frank Island. I think this might be a dry creek bed. I'm wondering if this is where the brimstone fire was a couple years ago when I was here. I'm in between 5E6 and 5E4. I have to look it up when I go home. Made it to 5E4. Let's go check it out. So here's the view of Yellowstone Lake from the shores of camp. And this is looking south. I'll be heading further down that way tomorrow. That mountain in the back is called the Promontory. So I got camp all set up. I'm sitting at the fire ring. It's about 4:30. Today was a pretty good day. I think I came 11.5 miles from the trailhead. And I'm at campsite SE4. I saw an elk, bison, several elk actually, bison and pronghorn just driving around the park before I started the backpacking trip. Once I started backpacking, the only wildlife I saw a deer near the trailhead, a bald eagle, an owl that had either a chipmunk or a squirrel in its claws, and it flew off. And I'm not sure if they're ptarmigan or grouse, but I saw 3 of those, I think. So it's Saturday, September 4th, a little after 8 o'clock. I left camp SE4 at around 7:30. I just passed SE3. I have about 14 miles to go today. I slept pretty good last night. The problem I'm having though is the time change. I'm from the east, so I'm still on that clock. I'm going to bed too early and I'm waking up at like 4 in the morning. So hopefully I can force myself to stay up a little later tonight. Here's a look around the lake this morning. It's about 6:35 local time. Some kind of bone. Been walking in the woods all morning. Nice to come out to a meadow like this. So roughly what I'm going to do today is keep hiking that direction and then across through there and then up the edge right there, and I think my campsite is right there somewhere. A little closer view of this sort of delta area. I think that creek in the foreground draining into the lake is Beaver Dam Creek, and the Yellowstone River is one of those over there. I'm not exactly sure which one. Kind of walking through a tunnel, which is sketchy because you can't see anything. And that's why you yell out. As you can see, there's bear tracks heading in the directions I just came from. See how tight it is through here. Hey, bear! Here's a real pretty spot. So I came 19.6 miles since the trailhead. This is where I'm going to turn off, but in a couple days I'll be coming back up that way. And I'm heading toward, right now, that lower ford of the Yellowstone River. And then near that Trail Creek Ranger Station is where my campsite is. Stopped for lunch at 6B1. And this is the view from the fire pit area. This is a pretty nice campsite. You feel like you're right in the middle of the park or something. There's mountains on each side and you're right in the middle in this big open meadow. I'll try to stay here next time. There's some food poles. It's the mighty Yellowstone River. That's flowing toward the lake. Just have to figure out where the trail is on the other side. So I had to walk upstream maybe 1/8 of a mile. You can see that orange marker over there. Somebody else crossed here, I found. I think it's maybe their pack cover. Here's like a 360 view, standing on the banks of the Yellowstone River. Lower ford. Alright, so this sign says 4.4 to the Trail Creek Ranger Station, and I'm not much further than that. This is a real pretty spot. I think I filmed this last time I was here. So this morning I was walking down that side over there. You see I'm on the other side now. I think that's Trail Creek flowing through those meadows right there. They're huge. Not sure what that is, but I might have seen it in another video. Can't make it out, but Yellowstone Lake's off in the distance there. There's hundreds of birds over there. Here's what the Trail Creek Patrol Cabin area looks like. I don't know if I filmed this last time I was here. So point 2 to camp, but I have to go along the shoreline. I think there's some deadfall and stuff. And then tomorrow I'm heading to that Two Ocean Plateau Trail. So I made it to camp 683, and this is the view sitting at the fire pit. It's pretty awesome. So today I hiked about, I don't know, 13 and a half miles, 14 miles from, I think it was SE4 to where I am now. I think it's 683. This is a top of the line campsite. I didn't see any big animals today. I saw some bunch of ducks and geese and things like that. Some more of those grouse or ptarmigans, whatever they are. I saw a beaver, and that's pretty much the extent of the wildlife. Tomorrow I go up and over Two Ocean Plateau, and I'm camping at Mariposa Lake. I think that's the biggest day of the trip. It'll be about 14 and a half miles, I think, something like that. So here's a 180 view from camp. It's about 6:30 on Sunday, September 5th. Sun's starting to come up. Here's a pretty spot this morning. I had frost on my tent this morning. And that little stream right there is frozen. It got pretty cold last night. So I've been hearing an elk bugling, and I can see a couple over there, way off in the distance in that clearing. Here's a look around. I think I'm at the turnoff. I need to check my map. I'm just in the middle of a huge meadow. So I'm going to video these signs. It doesn't exactly say this is the trail I'm supposed to take, but I checked all the distances against the map. Not sure what kind of birds those are. Try to figure it out. I think this is Chipmunk Creek. So I made it to the Two Ocean Cutoff Trail junction. Took a little longer than I thought. Down by Chipmunk Creek, just make sure you know which side of the creek you're supposed to be on. The trail's kind of hard to follow down there. It's big meadow after big meadow up here. Starting to climb. look around. It's real hot and dry. I think 6M5 is up that way, not much further. A little bit of a view. Opened up into some meadows. I think this is the biggest meadow yet. There's a bull elk in those trees over there. It stood up when it heard me. Looks like I spoke too soon. This one might be the biggest. And I just saw an elk down there. Try to zoom in on it. It's down there, you can't really see it. It's that little black dot. So I finally made it to the intersection with the South Boundary Trail. Looks like I have 1 mile to camp. Let me report a few things about the Two Ocean Plateau Trail while I'm still thinking about it here. So it took me from 7:30 to 4:30 to hike from 683 to the intersection of the South Boundary Trail. So going up Two Ocean Plateau, you're in the sun a lot, so I would add a little bit extra time. I had to take a lot of breaks. I took 2 half-hour breaks, so you can subtract that and say it took maybe 6 hours with normal, like, stopping for 5 or 10 minute breaks, that kind of thing. Mariposa Lake. Some big meadows. And camps in here. There's a view of the lake as the sun goes down. So I'm at camp at Mariposa Lake. Today was a pretty rough day. I think I left camp at 7:30 and got here around 5. There's a lot of uphill, a lot of being in the sun, and it was kind of warm and real dry, and that just made the the climb even worse. But I made it. I'm here now. Saw 4 elk, I think. So that was kind of cool. First big animals I've seen back here. And I'm at camp now making dinner. I'm gonna call it a night. Here's a look at the lake this morning. It's Labor Day, Monday, September 6th, around 6:30 a.m. So last night was kind of uneventful. There was a coyote barking for a little while, maybe half hour or something. Haven't been sleeping real good. I usually conk out for about 3 or 4 hours, then toss and turn all night. And that was the same last night. There's an elk out there swimming around. There's a wolf chasing that elk. There's a couple wolves. Another elk running away. So the elk is over there, and the wolves are right there. I think they gave up. At least temporarily. See them getting out of the water. How cool is that? There's at least 4 wolves over there now. You see them right there. The elk's in the water. So the elk's been standing in the middle of the lake for about 15-20 minutes. So I'm not sure if the wolves are over there or not, but I have to head in that direction. I've hiked this way before, but I came up this trail. This is going to drop down into the thoroughfare. First glimpse down into the thoroughfare. So I'm heading toward that ford of the Yellowstone River. So this is what it'll be like for the next couple miles probably. Here's a look around. If you ever want to feel small, this is the place to come stand. Almost to the Thoroughfare trail, which is where I started on. So I made it to the Thoroughfare trail, 2.3 miles to camp, and then 31.3 to the 9-mile trailhead. That's where I started at. So that's what I'll be doing over the next couple of days. Look around. I think I walked through those earlier. Today was the best day of the trip by far. This morning, seeing the wolves and the elk. I mean, that's, how do you beat that? The hike down from Mariposa Lake into the Thoroughfare. I mean, you're just in a canyon, hiking in the woods, in and out of like burn and stuff. It's not really that great. But when you get down into the Thoroughfare, you know, it's pretty amazing. And I'm at a pretty amazing campsite. I think I hiked 12 miles today. I'm not sure what time I left camp because I got wrapped up with the wolves after 8 though. And I think I got here at 4. This is the view from camp 6x6. I'm not sure if these are the same ones or not, but there were antlers here 2 years ago when I camped here. Here's a look around camp this morning. It's around 6:30. There were some wolves howling last night, which was super cool. But nothing came into camp, which was also super cool. That looks both sketchy and interesting at the same time. Must have walked right by 61. It's closed for bear activity. It's Trapper's Creek. It's looking upstream. There's a beehive down there. I'm going to guess a bear flipped this log over to get at the honey down there. Matter of fact, those look like the claw marks right there. There's the Yellowstone River. Getting reasonably close to the lake now. So about 20 miles to the trailhead, which I'll do over the next couple of days. This is looking toward Yellowstone Lake. So I made it back to this intersection that takes you over toward Yellowstone Lake. Doesn't have my campsite listed there. Look around on my way to SE1. Probably about 2 miles from camp. So today is Tuesday, September 7th. I hiked around, I think, 11.5 miles from 6Y6 to SE1. Got here around 2 o'clock, set camp up. Was done with all that around 3. Just going to relax for the rest of the day. Tomorrow I have around, I think, 11 miles to get to campsite SE8. And then the next day would only be 6 miles to get out. I think this is Beaver Dam Creek. Camp is real close. I just stopped here to get water, take a dip. That's looking upstream. Here's a look at the view from camp. Got a pretty good view. Except there's no shade. It is super hot right here. It's been a pretty quiet afternoon. Haven't seen the animals or anything. The sun's starting to go down. Let me show you what it looks like out there. So I left camp earlier this morning, around 7 a.m. It's probably about 40 degrees right now, which the hiking's much better in my opinion when it's cooler. So up until about 10 o'clock, it's pretty good, but then it starts to heat up to like the 70s, which doesn't seem that hot, but some of these areas right through here, you're really exposed. So I have 10.4 miles to go to campsite. I think it's 5E8, and that'd be the last night of the trip. It's Wednesday, September 8th. Here's a look around this morning. It's real hazy. Not real cold. It's probably the warmest morning of the trip. Sun's starting to come over the mountains. It's about 7 o'clock. Almost to the lake. I think I stopped here on the way in. A lot of this, well, all of this is going to be duplicate. It's already hiked this trail. It's a bald eagle sitting on that tree. You see its white head. Might have filmed this on the way in. It's been hiking pretty hard. Here's a view of the lake. think I'm near 5E6. It's awful hazy today. I guess that's smoke from wildfires in the west, I'm not sure. So I made it to campsite 5E8, which is where I'm permitted to camp tonight. I'm trying to decide if I want to just walk to the car. It's like another 6 miles, and it's only 11:15 in the morning. Since you're seeing these meadows again, that means I decided to walk back to the car. So I'm back in the burn area, which makes me think I only have maybe like 3 miles or 2 miles to my car. But you can't even see the lake, and it's making me wonder if there's a fire in the park or something. But I don't smell any smoke. Almost back to the car. You can see it up there. Maybe a quarter mile. Made it back to the trailhead. It's about 2:30. I think it was about 16, 17 miles. I think I left at 7 this morning. What a trip. You can see how hazy it is. I ran into some park employees. They said it's got real hazy over the last couple of days. That's smoke from the wildfires out west. It was another great trip. Now I gotta go find a hotel room.